The grieving process is the most difficult thing that I've ever encountered. Can't explain it to anybody. The grief, the feeling. It's nothing. You know, as we grow up, we have experiences and we end up with possessions. We have friends. And we don't get to keep anything forever. But most of these things that we lose, most of these things, they come and go. And they hurt a little bit. We think they hurt a lot. The greatest pain you have is the most hurtful pain you have is the greatest pain you've had to date. Everything is relative. The greater the attachment you have to something or someone, the more pain that attachment will cause you. It's ironic. The greatest love you ever know will be that which can hurt you more than anything else. It seems like a never-ending cascade of emotions, different kinds of emotions. I'm not sure what it is that causes this. At times, you're like a child throwing a tantrum because you can't have what you want. And you get angry. You get angry at the world. You get angry at the person that left you. Even though you know it was beyond anybody's control. Sometimes you're just angry and don't know what or why, where, who, when. You just gotta get it out of your system. And it's scary sometimes because it doesn't seem like it's ever gonna be out of your system. You think you're done with it, and it comes back again out of the blue. And then there's just times further and fewer between as you go. But every moment you feel like it's never going to go away completely. And I still feel like that's more than likely the truth of the matter. I can be working and pictures, her name, email address, accounts, everything. She was in my life for years. So many beautiful years. And I thought of her before me about everything. It's like every thought was us. It was never just me. That disappeared. It disappeared the moment I met her. It really did. There was something magic and special. I don't mean romance. It's like we danced in other lives. We knew each other. I can't explain it, except to say that it had to be true. It has to be true. So her name will come up, or I'll see pictures, Facebook memories, and I will just scream out, Kelly, I just miss you. And the flood of tears comes. Horrendous flood of tears, like I've never cried about it before. But I sure have. Never ending. And then, not so much anymore. One has to wonder why this happens. But we want to blame ourselves. It seems like we want to blame ourselves in the worst way. So much of the time, my mind, it doesn't go away to this day. I still do it. I have more of an acceptance of the fact that I'm doing it, more of an acceptance of the fact that I'm doing it, and it's become part of life. But you process every little detail of not just the recent history leading up to this incredible disaster, but every interaction you ever had with them from the beginning of the relationship. You run through your mind, what if I did this? What if I did that? If I behaved differently, would that have stopped this? It's so ridiculous because life is so complex, so many emotions. She had so much going on in her life, traumas, so much trauma before she even met me. And here I am trying to figure out what little thing I could have done that could have changed it, saved her, kept her with me. So this is idiocy for so many reasons. One, and this is the most critical, nothing's going to bring her back. If I ever thought that I found a magical reason for what happened, what good would it have done? Except to say that I could blame myself. It would not bring her back. Okay, that's one. Number two, the idiocy, I kind of just touched on it already, is why in hell do we try so hard to find a reason to blame ourselves? Incredible. When you have the logic and the intuition right in front of you that dictates we cannot be responsible for all that happens in life. It plays out. We do the best we can in the moment. There is nothing more and nothing less. All there is the present moment. It is impossible to have ever changed the past. I guess what I'm saying is, it's impossible for the past to have happened any other way than it did. Duh. It happened the way it did. Nothing else was possible. And yet we torture ourselves to the nth degree. I'd like to think that I could impart some wisdom for someone else going through this crisis. Suicide is by far, well, this is my personal experience. It doesn't mean it's really true for everybody. But suicide is the most intense and painful thing by far. If she died of cancer, if she got hit by a car, the pain would be great, and I'm sure never go away. But there was a reason for it outside of me and her. There would have been a reason for it beyond our control. And so I think that there would be some relief coming sooner than there is for me. It's inexplicable. I can't have a memory of somebody who was a victim of circumstance. Every memory that I have of her ends with seeing her on the floor with a belt around her neck. Ends with me knowing that she purposefully took her life. And it brings a million emotions. Compassion for her emotional pain, even though it was irrational. The feeling that she was a victim of mental illness, but that's just a name for the series of thoughts that led up to what happened. There's so much more. It never ends. You just want to figure out why. But there is nothing in life that has that answer. It's just a series of events that are playing out. We can say based on all previous action, thoughts, word, and deed. There's no way to figure anything out, and we're really, I know we're not supposed to. There's nothing to figure out. When somebody comes into your life and the magic happens, you don't sit there and analyze it and try to figure out why. And you certainly don't look at the past and say, well, would this have happened if? Would this have happened if I did this or that? We just accept the beauty and the love, the blessings. Acceptance is so easy at that stage of the game. It's not easy at the end of a relationship or where there's a death. It's not easy. But it's the only answer, acceptance. If I could impart some wisdom to somebody, I don't think anybody would ever be able to do this. But it would be just go right to acceptance, because everything else is futile. We just have to accept what happened. There's no logic, no rhyme or reason. It is what it is. That's the number one phrase that finally gets you through things. It's a summary of acceptance. It is what it is. So, if you've experienced this, or if you're going to experience this at some later date, I guess the best thing I can tell you is go through it. Cry when you have to cry. Get angry when you have to be angry, when you feel it. Let every emotion come out when it has to come out. Don't be shy. If this has to happen in front of total strangers, let it happen. Wear your heart on your sleeve. Don't hold anything in. Throw your tantrum when you have to. And remember, you will end up accepting it. It may always hurt. The memories will never go away. It's crazy to, I never thought that I could reach a point to go through day-to-day life with those memories, the aftermath of what she did, those vivid memories. They come and they go now. You think them for a second and you push it out. You're accepting it and you're moving on. I never thought that I could handle that with anything but sheer trauma and pain. So the good news is, for anybody going through this, is that you do reach a point where you see that you'll have joy again. You end up with peace. Life's still really strange, and nothing's what you thought it was going to be. But you get to that point of peace, you recognize that you'll have joy again. And it keeps you going, and then life's not as bad anymore. I know I'm saying this with some tension on my face. It's part of the experience. Since I'm talking about it right now and thinking about it, that's where the tension comes out. But most of my day is I call it lethargic. I'm just going through the motions, but I'll laugh, I'll get work done, I'll have little angry tantrums about stupid shit again. And when you have those tantrums about they're not really like angry. It's just like when you have a comment to make about something. You take all that with a grain of salt more than you used to. The loss of a small attachment doesn't matter. Possessions don't matter. I think even the circumstance you live in, your life situation, most of it you take with a grain of salt now. You realize it's not that important. What is important? People. Gathering. One-on-one, groups. This is where it's at. This is what's important. The heart is what matters. And you could say there's something sad in that, because what I know is we're male, female. We came into a world of duality. Acid, alkaline, plus, minus, man, woman. And while we are soul and we are complete, we came into this physical experience where male and female complete each other. Okay, so I know that's part of it. I know that I shouldn't say I have to do that again because it makes it sound like a chore. The reason you feel like I have to is because you had something beautiful. You had it. You had this male-female connection. And so it kind of makes the feeling of going through establishment of it a daunting task. But the reality is, I know that's what I need. That's part of being human. So there's something settling, something nice about that, even though I don't have it right now and I miss it. It's part of the human experience. And I will find joy in having that again. In fact, I think that's, for someone that's experienced what I have, ultimately, or maybe the ultimate joy, will be once again having that relationship, that experience. And so I look forward to it. So there's hope, and there's joy, and there's knowing you're going to have all the beautiful experiences in life that you've had before, all the incredible places I've been and seen, the majesty of mountains, of a helicopter landing in the Grand Canyon for a picnic lunch, the mountains, being up in the mountains in the middle of the night where you can't see the road in front of you, with some panic with the one you love. You know, the experiences you have with people, they're indelible in your mind and they mean so much. Part of the pain of losing someone like losing Kelly is there was a lot of memories that only you and her could share. They meant nothing to anybody else. And now you don't have anybody to share them with. It's not the same to tell somebody about it. You had that experience with that person and nobody, you relive it. Nobody can do that the way you and her, or you and that person, nobody. And there's even an excitement and a joy in having that. Takes a while to put that in perspective and know that, it's still yours and hers, even though she's not here to experience it. She's somewhere. We're soul. There's part of us that is always aware of these experiences that we've had with each other. It doesn't do us much good here on earth. We just have to accept our current life situation. But it's good to know that there's more after this. I'll share this with her on the other side. The reality is, we probably already are sharing it on the other side. Inexplicable. Our intuition, when we really get in touch with it, leads us to these conclusions, and we know that's the reality of it, even though we're cut off from it. We're doing it to have this experience in a physical world. On the other side, it's okay with us right now in this moment. Well, this is the world according to Gar. When I came up with that, the world according to Gar, is a kind of an artist name, even though I don't have a following. Not yet, anyway. Maybe after I die, I will. I came up with that name because of the beautiful things that were happening in my life, and sometimes the strange, crazy, disconcerting things that was happening in my life. But while I had my better half, my opposite, my affinity is a better word for it. So this is a new one for the world according to Gar. One which I don't ever want to repeat. One which I don't want anybody to have to go through. No. It's the deepest, darkest part of the human experience. I think even for those souls that go awry and engulf themselves in evil, perpetrate evil on the world. And we know that there's a few and that are very successful right now with their evil. But even for them, such a loss, no doubt would rate as the worst possible loss in the human experience.